hate and dislike for Israel. That's their number one. You have to kind of pick and choose which one's going to be your number one. If your number one is America first, this isn't America first.
Boy, was I wrong about Patrick Bet-David. A direct quote from him right here. When November 5th comes and Kamala is president, remember these days. In your indirect way, you helped that. Essentially trying to intimidate, I believe his co-host is named Vinny, as well as everyone else who has been recently pushing back against all of the Israel rhetoric, as well as just the our greatest ally rhetoric and everything that comes with that. Trying to intimidate with a Kamala win, as if this issue is anything similar to what the Groyper War was in terms of it being a direct assault on issues with the Trump campaign. Now stretching it to mean as if any amount of criticism, he literally says verbatim, is not America first. I mean, you just have to watch it for yourself. I did not think I was going to be this wrong about PBD, but once again, it seems the Israel conversation is the quickest one for someone to show you their true colors. We'll take a listen.
Do you think Candace and all this stuff that's going on, Dan, Tate doesn't live here. Tate lives in Romania. Okay, yeah. So Tate, U.S., of course, you know, they want Trump to be the president. Tate's a Trump guy. He's publicly said it. Do you think all of that helps Trump's case or hurts Trump's case? Hurts Trump's case. How do you feel about that?
Not a big fan of it, but at the same time, she's chosen her enemy. It's a big freaking enemy. I know you say, you know, choose them wisely, but I think there's something deeper that she has a calling for that she's going to go with it. And
how much of it do you think it's her? How much of it do you think is the falling out with Daily Wire?
I think the Daily Wire situation sparked the fire in her that's taken off, and it's way past that. Ben Shapiro is so far back in her rear view, it's insane. It's like now it's a bigger issue. Now he set the flame, and now it's a full-on fire line. Like it's insane.
Do you think America needs that today?
What?
That, just going through that whole Israel thing today.
I mean, do we need it? I think we do need it.
Okay.
I think we have to have.
How do you think the left feels about it today?
Of course, anything that's having us fighting with each other is obviously huge.
Got it. So the left's going to use this
big time,
and that's why they wrote an article titled "What? Far-right influencers, talking about guys like you, turn against Trump campaign," and that's a WAPO story. Who does that help?
The left, obviously.
Who does that hurt?
The right, Trump.
So when November 5th comes and Kamala's president, remember these days. Mm-hmm. Just letting you know. When November 5th comes.
So there's like a few things working here, right? The first I'm going to point out is if they are positioning this article and framing it as if Trump is actually moving away from the far right, when we know that the left lives in ever-loving fear of what the far right supposedly is, then wouldn't that make the logistical sense that actually appeals more to moderates and more to left-wing people, especially when you already admit that people who are exercising that rhetoric, right, like Andrew Tate, are already being openly public that they will be voting for Trump. Same thing with Candace Owens, same thing with an Andrew Torba, same thing with the Nick Fuentes. I mean, as of recently, it just doesn't follow. The logic does not follow at all. The second thing also is the implication that they keep trying to pound in, or PBD at least, that this is a spiral from what occurred in the Daily Wire, and it couldn't have been the other way around. It couldn't have been that Candace was on this noticing kind of track, which then led to her firing. So the implication from PBD here is essentially that, you know, how much of this is her just, falling down this, this dark, conspiracy rabbit hole because of what the Daily Wire did to her. Very disappointed in the rhetoric from PBD here. Am a little beefed up by the fact that Vinny kind of stood his ground slightly, although he seems to be letting himself get dominated by PBD in this conversation. I don't know too much about this, I have to say. I've never watched a long form of PBD, really only caught clips. But very disappointed in the rhetoric here. And the thing is, too, is I wanted to show this clip in the beginning of later down the line because it does get worse from here. So let's keep watching.
And all of these guys, when and by the way, trust me, you're going to get swamped with support and messages today. You're going to be swamped with messages of support today. Swamped. Vinny, you're the only guy, you're this, and you're that, and you're this, and great. When that happens, they're not sitting there matching your number one, which your number one is Trump winning. Mm-hmm. Their number one is their hate and dislike for Israel. That's their number one. You have to kind of pick and choose which one's going to be your number one. If your number one is America first, this isn't America first. That's not an America first position you're making. Everybody has their own individual choices that they make, but your choices will have a direct impact, specifically during a time like this. If you think this is a truly important time, if in the back of your mind you're like, nah, Kamala winning's not that big of a deal, keep doing what you're doing. Light it up.
Yep.
But if you don't, come November 5th, while we're campaigning, and you sit there and like, record's been broken. Officially, first female African-American president, applaud because you supported that, right? And in your indirect way, you helped that. This business is a very simple game that you're getting into, but where we are right now, I think we're facing a very interesting time politically, because on one end, guys are sitting there thinking no matter what, the Trump's going to win and it's done and all this other stuff. Nope, it's officially turned. She hasn't even spoken yet, and she's officially the lead dog in Vegas, just so you know that. She hasn't even spoken yet. That conversation hasn't even happened yet. She hasn't even given the speech yet. And you don't even know what other celebrity is going to be speaking in the next couple of days. They had Steve Kerr. Who's going to come tomorrow or the next day? We don't know yet. So stay tuned. A lot of weird, interesting things are going to happen. And yes, oh my God, how can you see her winning? There's no way, Pat, all this other stuff. Just wait. You'll see. You'll see what's going to happen next 76 days, which I think is the exact amount of days that are left till that day.
It's laughable, dude. It is so laughable. There's three things here, right? I'm doing my notes and doing my homework here. Not supporting a foreign country, or at least voicing your willingness to not support or with foreign aid, or on any grounds, even whether it's financial or just sentimental value, is not American first. I can't stand this. It's the most retarded rhetoric I've ever heard. If you don't support Israel, you're not American first. It is just, it makes no sense, right? It's nonsensical. And the second thing he kind of mentions there, and you might not have caught it because he kind of slips it through, it's a simple business you're getting into. There is quite honestly nothing simple about politics. Politics is complex in multiple different layers. I mean, maybe I'll give him the benefit of the doubt if he's talking specifically single-handedly about a contextual issue of how to appeal to voters. I understand that can be simple, but this overall conversation is one of the most complex and one of the most toxic and one of the most clearly pervasive conversation that's on politics as it is right now. And the third thing is he brings up that Kamala hasn't spoken. Does this guy seriously expect me to believe that if Kamala speaks, her numbers are going to go up in the polls? That's the most ridiculous thing anyone's ever uttered. I lost almost every ounce of respect I had for PBD during this conversation just in a 4-minute clip alone. This is what I mean by the Israel conversation exposes people like this. Instantly, I'm like, I can no longer trust you. Everything you're saying makes literally no sense. And you're just simply trying to shut down the conversation in some way that you think you can justify by bringing up all of these points that are illogical. I don't know about you. Tell me what you think about this. Tell me what you think about PBD even. I know a lot of my commenters have been bringing up stuff as well about things, especially with like Dave Rubin and stuff of that nature. So let me know. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and I'll try to make some more for you. Appreciate it. And I'll see you next time.